In this lesson, I want to talk about modifiers. And I'm going to start off with using adjectives and adverbs because those are probably the most common modifiers that we're going to deal with when we're writing. Modifiers are words that give information about or modify the meanings of other words. And as I said before, adjectives and adverbs are common modifiers, and it's important that you understand how to use them correctly. Let's start off with adjectives. Adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. And they answer the questions, which one, what kind, how many, and how much. So if they're answering those questions, they're adjectives. Now, words that are classified as other parts of speech can also be used as adjectives. And if you look at the little chart that I've put on there, you can see the different types of words that can also function as adjectives. For example, nouns. In the two examples that I give there, cloth pouch and silk shirt, both words cloth and silk are nouns, but when they're put in front of another noun, they're now modifying that second noun and being used as adjectives. Possessive pronouns, and we talked about possessive pronouns not too long ago. Their nets, her head, your idea. It modifies those nouns, and in those situations, those possessive pronouns are functioning as adjectives. Now let's look at demonstrative pronouns. This house, that road, these hills, those people. It's giving us specifics on what or who we're talking about. And in that case, those demonstrative pronouns, even though they are still demonstrative pronouns, they are functioning as adjectives in those situations. And then also participles. Now, participles are something that we've talked about before. They're forms of verbs. Present participles end in ing. Past participles are going to be the past tense form of the verb, probably on regular verbs ending in ed. So if you look at the examples, living spider. Now, living is a verb. It's a participle, but it's modifying the word spider. So in this situation, it's functioning as an adjective. And the other one is a past participle. Dreaded plague. Now, dreaded could be a verb, and it could function easily as a verb, but in this particular instance, it's working as an adjective because it's modifying the noun plague. And when you're using adjectives, you need to also understand something called a predicate adjective. A predicate adjective follows a linking verb and modifies the subject of a clause. So first, let's start off by looking at the example. The spider looked harmless and small. So now we have two adjectives, harmless and small. They're following the linking verb looked, and what they're modifying is the spider. Now let's look at what linking verbs are, because I know it's easy to forget. Linking verbs are forms of to be, is, am, are, was, were, being, been. Those are all forms of to be, and they are linking verbs. Other things that function as linking verbs are verbs that express condition. Look, smell, feel, sound, taste, grow, appear, become, seen, remain. So when you have those verbs, it's not going to be an action verb. What it's going to do is reflect back on the noun, in this case spider, and give us information about that noun. In this case, the spider looked harmless and small. So even though the spider isn't the one doing the looking, we're using a linking verb followed by adjectives which give us more information about the spider. Now normally in English, the adjectives will come before the noun. So if they follow a linking verb, it works out a little bit differently. Now let's move on to adverbs. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. They also answer questions, but different questions than adjectives. The questions adverbs answer are where, when, how, and to what extent. When you see adverbs like so, very, most, more, and ever, they're going to intensify the meanings of the words they modify. And very often we'll see them in conjunction with another adverb. An adverb can be placed before or after a verb it modifies. This is a little bit different than adjectives, which almost always come before unless they're following a linking verb. So let's look at this. Spider very cleverly steals the sun. We can put it right after the subject and right before the verb steals. Or we can put it away from the verb. Spider steals the sun very cleverly. So an adverb can be put in a different situation. Now, look at the verb, or the adverb, I'm sorry, very. It's modifying another adverb cleverly, and it's making it more intense. It's not just clever, it's very clever. So when you have an adverb like very, or so, or much, or most, it's going to add intensity to probably another adverb. Now, when you're using modifiers like only and even, you need to place those right next to the words that they're modifying, because if you change the position, it's going to change the meaning of your sentence. So let's take the very same sentence, and all we're going to do is change the modifier only, the adverb. Only she stole the sun. That means no one else did it. She did it by herself. She only stole the sun. Now, that doesn't mean that she destroyed the sun. She only stole it. So it changes the meaning quite a bit. She stole only the sun. She didn't steal anything else, so maybe we need to lighten up on Spider, because all she stole was the sun. So you can see when you have an adverb, a modifier like only, you need to be careful where you put it in the sentence, because it's going to change the meaning if you put it in a different place. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more information about using adjectives and adverbs in your writing. They're very useful words to have, and it's important to know how to use them properly.